Under the crimson light of the burning sky, the battlefield stretched endlessly, a wasteland of metal and smoke. The air trembled with the thunder of alien cannons, and the ground shook beneath the march of towering mechs. Humanity was losing again. The Allied coalition forces had already withdrawn from 3 sectors. Only one outpost remained standing, Delta Point, and inside it stood a single human soldier who refused to retreat. His name was Sergeant Cole Varron. To the alien generals, he was just another expendable human, weak, emotional, predictable. To his own commanders, he was a problem, a soldier who questioned orders, who never waited for backup, who believed one man could make a difference. They ignored him when he warned them about the incoming trap. They ignored him when he said the enemy wasn't retreating, only waiting. Now, as the night burned red, Cole stood alone in the wreckage of Outpost Delta, surrounded by the silence of fallen comrades. His armor was damaged, his pulse rifle half dead, and his comlink filled with static. Above him, enemy drones floated like vultures, scanning for survivors. He crouched behind a piece of shattered wall, breathing slow, watching the faint blue glow of the alien command unit in the distance. That was their control node, the brain of their formation. Destroy it, and maybe, just maybe, the human fleet in orbit would have a chance. Cole knew he couldn't call for help. Command had already marked the sector as lost. Evacuation ships had left hours ago. The battle was over for everyone, except him. He checked his ammo, 2 clips left. He looked at the burning horizon, at the alien banners waving in the storm. "You think you've won," he whispered, voice rough and tired. "Let's see about that." Moving through the ruins, Cole used the smoke as his cover. His boots splashed through pools of ash and oil. He had been trained for stealth, for chaos, for impossible odds. Every breath was slow, every step silent. He passed bodies of soldiers, friends he'd fought beside for years. His eyes hardened. This wasn't just another mission anymore. It was payback. A faint sound reached his ears, a soft mechanical hum. He froze. A patrol. 3 alien soldiers, tall, insectoid forms with black carapace armor and energy rifles that pulsed with violet light. Their language was a series of metallic clicks. Cole waited, his finger steady on the trigger. When one of them stepped closer, scanning the ground with its glowing visor, Cole fired once. The plasma bolt hit straight through the neck. The creature fell before it could scream. The other 2 turned, too late. Cole moved fast, a blur of motion, switching to his combat knife. Silent kills. Efficient. Brutal. He dragged the bodies into the shadows and kept moving. Far ahead, the alien command node pulsed brighter, a sphere of blue energy protected by armored pylons. Around it, dozens of guards stood watch. There was no way in without drawing fire. Cole studied the terrain. An old artillery wreck lay nearby, half buried in the dirt, its reactor still glowing faintly. He smiled. "Guess we'll do this the old-fashioned way." He pulled a small detonator from his belt and crawled toward the wreck. It took him 5 minutes to bypass the safety locks, another 2 to reroute the power core. The hum grew louder, unstable. He set the timer, 1 minute. Then he ran. The explosion tore the ground apart. A wave of heat and light surged across the camp. Alien soldiers screamed, disoriented. Cole didn't waste the chance. He sprinted through the chaos, firing short controlled bursts, each shot hitting its mark. His movements were fast, unpredictable. They had never seen a human fight like this. Smoke and dust filled the air. Cole reached the control sphere, slammed a plasma charge into its side, and dove for cover. The explosion that followed was blinding. Blue light burst into the sky like a flare, and every alien drone in the area fell from the air, crashing into the dirt. For a moment, there was silence. Then the comlink crackled to life. "This is command. Who the hell is firing down there? We're reading massive energy spikes from your sector." Cole laughed, breathless. "Just cleaning up what you left behind, sir." "Cole, you're supposed to be dead." "Not yet." Above the clouds, the human fleet detected the collapse of the alien control grid. A counterattack began. For the first time in weeks, the aliens fell back. All because one soldier refused to give up. As the dust settled, Cole stood among the wreckage, the wind blowing through his torn armor. His hands shook from exhaustion, but his eyes burned with defiance. He looked up at the darkening sky, the stars now visible again through the smoke. "They ignored me," he muttered. "But they'll remember this." In orbit, a transmission recorded his final words. Across the fleet, the story of the lone human soldier spread. The man who turned the battle upside down when everyone else had given up. And on that broken world, under the light of a dying sun, Sergeant Cole Varron disappeared into the ruins, a ghost among the ashes, preparing for the next fight. The night after the explosion, the battlefield was silent, too silent. The smoke had cleared, leaving behind only wreckage and ash. Sergeant Cole Varron sat inside the shell of a half-collapsed bunker, his armor scratched and blackened. He had no food, no working comlink, and his rifle's power cell was nearly empty. Yet, he was alive. Against all odds, he had destroyed the alien command node and turned the tide of the fight. But he knew it wasn't over. High above the planet, the alien warships moved like silent predators, rearranging formation. Their leaders had seen what happened at Delta Point. One human soldier had crippled an entire ground division. To them, that wasn't bravery. It was an insult. They would answer it with fire. Cole leaned back against the cold metal wall and listened. The wind howled through the ruins, carrying the faint whine of engines. He tightened his grip on his rifle. "They're coming," he whispered to himself. "They always do." Moments later, the ground began to shake. Dust fell from the ceiling. Then, a beam of blue light shot down from the clouds, the start of an orbital bombardment. The Earth split open as alien pods fell from the sky, slamming into the ground like meteors. Each one opened with a hiss, releasing squads of armored soldiers. Cole watched through the crack in the wall. There were hundreds of them. "So, they sent everyone," he muttered, half smiling. He had no chance in a fair fight. But Cole never fought fair. He crawled to the back of the bunker and pried open a metal hatch. Beneath it lay an old maintenance tunnel, one that led toward the enemy's new landing zone. He slid down the ladder, the air thick with dust and decay. His flashlight flickered weakly, revealing rusted pipes and old human markings from a war-long past. As he moved, he remembered his squad, faces now gone, voices silenced. They had believed the command's lies about safety and strategy. He had seen the truth first. Humanity was losing not because they were weak, but because their leaders were afraid to fight dirty. Cole wasn't afraid. He had nothing left to lose. The tunnel ended in a broken grate that opened near a crater. Cole peered out and saw the alien landing site, their new forward base. Dozens of engineers were setting up generators, towers, and strange crystal structures pulsing with light. Their leader stood at the center, taller than the others, wearing silver armor with glowing veins that pulsed like a heartbeat. Cole raised his visor and zoomed in. "So, you're the one in charge now," he whispered. The alien commander was speaking through a translator drone. Its voice echoed across the camp. "The human who destroyed the control core must be found. Alive, if possible. We will learn how he did it. His species will learn fear again." Cole grinned. "You already learned it," he said softly. He waited until the commander moved closer to one of the generators. Then, he aimed his rifle, one perfect shot. The plasma bolt struck the generator, exploding in a burst of blue fire. Chaos erupted instantly. The aliens shouted, scattering in confusion. Cole used the distraction to move, firing short bursts, each one precise and deadly. He didn't stay in one place for more than a few seconds. When they tried to surround him, he tossed a smoke grenade and vanished into the gray haze. Inside the smoke, his visor's heat sensors picked up their movements. They couldn't see him, but he could see them. One by one, they fell. The alien commander roared, sending shockwaves through the air. Cole ducked behind a fallen drone, heart pounding. The commander moved like lightning, blades forming from his armor, energy crackling in his hands. Cole fired again, the bolts bounced off harmlessly. The creature's armor was too strong. Cole checked his weapon, 1 shot left. He exhaled slowly. Make it count. He looked up. Above them, a damaged alien shuttle hovered, its reactor exposed. Cole aimed at it instead of the commander and pulled the trigger. The explosion was massive. Fire and debris rained down. The alien commander was thrown back, armor cracked, his body burning. Cole hit the ground hard, his armor sparking, pain shooting through his leg. When he looked up, the alien leader was still alive, crawling toward him, hissing in rage. Cole grabbed a fallen plasma blade from the dirt and drove it forward, straight through the alien's chest. The creature screamed once and went still. Breathing heavily, Cole looked at the burning wreckage around him. The alien troops were retreating, leaderless once again. He had done it. Again. But as he limped away, his comlink flickered, a faint voice breaking through the static. Sergeant Cole, this is Fleet Command. We've detected heavy alien reinforcements approaching your sector. You need to evacuate immediately. He looked up at the dark clouds, where faint lights were descending, more enemy ships. He smiled bitterly. Evacuate? No. I've got work to do. He switched off the comm. The next wave was coming, bigger than before. And Cole Varan, the soldier they once ignored, was ready to face them, alone. He reloaded his weapon and disappeared into the smoke once more. The sun never truly rose again over Delta Point, only a dim orange glow filtered through the thick layers of smoke. The planet had turned into a graveyard of machines. The silence that followed the battle was heavy, almost sacred. And somewhere within that silence, Sergeant Cole Varan moved like a ghost. For 3 days, he had been hiding among the ruins, surviving on scavenged rations and water collected from broken pipes. His armor was cracked, his wounds untreated, and his rifle barely functional. But he refused to stop. Every time he thought about leaving, about calling for evacuation, he remembered the faces of the men and women who had died believing this war was already lost. He wasn't going to let their memory fade. The aliens, however, had not forgotten either. They wanted him, alive or dead. To them, Cole was no longer a soldier. He was a symbol of defiance, a story spreading through human channels like wildfire. The lone human who turned the tide. The aliens feared what such a story could do. If one man could do this, what could 10,000 humans accomplish? So, they began the hunt. Across the planet, drones scoured the ruins, scanning for human heat signatures. Patrols moved through the debris, armed with hounds, biomechanical creatures that could track a scent for miles. And in orbit, alien commanders monitored every signal, every flicker of energy. Cole watched their movements from the shadows. He had studied their patterns. They were fast, disciplined, and confident. But they weren't human. They didn't know what it meant to fight with desperation. That was his advantage. He found an old maintenance depot half buried in sand. Inside, he discovered human tech from the first invasion, mines, EMP grenades, even a broken railgun. He worked in silence, repairing what he could, building traps across the abandoned streets. Each day, he struck fast and vanished, a flash of movement, a gunshot, a sudden explosion. The aliens grew restless. Every loss they suffered made them more violent. Villages that once stood untouched were now burned to the ground as punishment for hiding the human ghost. But the more they tried to crush the legend, the stronger it became. In the refugee camps orbiting the nearby moons, soldiers whispered his name before going into battle. For Cole, they said. For the one who fought alone. On the 5th night, the aliens set their biggest trap yet. They sent a fake transmission on human frequencies, a distress call from a supposed survivor. Cole heard it while scavenging near a destroyed tower. The voice was weak, desperate. This is Private Rena Miles. Anyone out there? Please respond. I'm trapped near the southern ridge. Cole froze. That name, Rena, it was familiar. She had been part of his old squad, presumed dead weeks ago. Could she still be alive? Logic said it was bait, but his heart said otherwise. He moved at once. The southern ridge was a canyon of twisted metal and stone. The ground glowed faintly with radiation. As he approached, he found footprints, small, human. The transmission repeated, this time weaker, filled with static. "Cole, if you're out there, please." He raised his weapon, scanning the shadows. "Rena," he called softly. Then he heard it, a faint metallic click behind him. Cole spun around just as an alien ambush unit uncloaked. 10 soldiers surrounded him, weapons glowing. Above them hovered a new kind of drone, a hunter class, designed specifically to capture living targets. Cole's mind raced. He was outnumbered. Trapped. The aliens spoke through a translator. "Human, surrender. You will not be harmed. We only wish to understand how you fight." He smiled faintly. "You'll have to learn the hard way." He dropped a small device from his belt, an EMP pulse grenade. The blast erupted with a crack of blue lightning. Every alien weapon flickered and died. In that split second of confusion, Cole lunged forward. The fight was brutal and fast. Plasma bolts tore through the air, explosions lit the canyon walls, and dust filled the sky. When it was over, the ground was littered with bodies, alien and human armor both torn apart. Cole staggered, bleeding from his shoulder, his vision blurred. The hunter drone hovered weakly, its systems fried, but still recording. Before it shut down completely, it captured one final image. Cole Varron standing in the smoke, surrounded by fire, staring straight into the lens. The footage was transmitted before the drone died. Hours later, on an alien warship, their commander watched the clip in silence. The human's eyes were cold, unbroken. The commander clenched his claws. "He wants a war," he hissed. "Then we'll give him one." And down on the planet, Cole listened to the distant thunder of engines. More ships. More soldiers. He wiped the blood from his face and whispered, "Good. Let's finish this." The hunt had failed, but the war had just begun. The dawn came with fire. Alien warships filled the sky, their engines roaring like thunder gods. Blue flames streaked across the horizon as drop pods rained down on the planet's surface. The ground trembled with every impact. They were no longer searching for the human soldier, they were coming to erase him. Sergeant Cole Varron stood on a cliff overlooking the wasteland. His armor was battered, his visor cracked, but his eyes burned with the same cold fire as ever. Below him, an army of alien troops assembled, moving in perfect formation. He watched them quietly, calculating. "So," he muttered, "they finally brought the whole army for one man." He had been preparing for this. For days, he had studied their tactics, stolen their weapons, and turned their own machines into traps. Around him, old human bunkers were reactivated, powered by the salvaged cores of destroyed alien drones. The ruins had become his fortress, not strong by design, but deadly by intent. He opened his comlink, broadcasting on all frequencies. "This is Sergeant Cole Varron. To anyone still listening, I'm still here. Delta Point is not lost. If you can hear me, fight back." There was silence. Then, one by one, faint human voices began to answer. Soldiers, miners, even civilians who had been hiding underground. They had been waiting for someone to lead them. And now, they had him. "Copy that, Sergeant. We're with you. Got old artillery here, it still works. Let's make them pay." A grin crossed Cole's face. "Then let's show them what humans can do." As the first wave of aliens advanced, they walked straight into Cole's trap. The ground erupted beneath them as buried charges detonated. Old human turrets powered up, firing streams of plasma. The air filled with the screams of burning metal. Cole moved between cover, sniping their commanders, hitting supply units, vanishing before they could respond. To the aliens, it felt like fighting a ghost army. Every time they pushed forward, something exploded behind them. Every time they thought they had cornered him, he struck from a different direction. Inside the alien command ship, Their general slammed his claws against the console. "How is this possible? He's one soldier." A technician replied nervously, "No, sir. He's not alone anymore." Down on the ground, Cole's message had spread across the entire planet. Scattered human survivors began attacking alien patrols, sabotaging supply routes, and rescuing captured prisoners. What had begun as one man's fight was turning into a rebellion. Cole led from the front. He knew every inch of this wasteland, every canyon, every broken city, every ridge that could hide a sniper. His mind worked like a machine, adapting to every change, every enemy move. That night, under the flickering light of burning ships, Cole and a small group of survivors prepared for the biggest strike yet, the destruction of the alien energy core, the same power source that fueled their orbital weapons. Without it, their warships would be blind. The plan was suicide. "Sergeant, there's no way we get out alive," one of the soldiers said, tightening his armor straps. Cole checked his rifle. "Then we make sure they don't either." The infiltration began at midnight. The energy core was buried inside a massive alien fortress, surrounded by shield walls and guarded by sentry drones. Cole led his team through the service tunnels beneath the structure, their boots silent against the cold metal floor. Halfway through, an alarm went off. They'd been detected. The corridors flashed red, and alien troops poured in. Cole fired first, his shots echoing through the tunnels. The humans moved like shadows, covering each other, pushing forward. One by one, they fell. But none turned back. When they reached the core chamber, the sight was breathtaking, a giant sphere of blue energy pulsing in the center, suspended by magnetic beams. It looked alive, almost breathing. Cole stared at it for a second, then set the charges around its base. "Timer's set," he said. "We've got 2 minutes." The aliens broke through the doors, firing wildly. Cole's team fought back fiercely, but the numbers were overwhelming. One soldier fell, then another. Cole was hit in the side, but he didn't stop. Blood dripped down his armor as he turned to face the approaching commander. A massive alien warlord, the same one who had ordered the hunt for him. The warlord raised his blade, voice like thunder. "You should have surrendered, human. We would have spared you." Cole smiled through the pain. "You still don't get it, do you?" He lifted the detonator and pressed it. "Humans don't surrender." The explosion was blinding. The entire fortress vanished in a storm of blue fire. The shockwaves spread for miles, tearing through the alien lines. Their ships in orbit flickered, power systems collapsing one by one. The planet lit up like a dying star. From space, human scouts watching from afar saw the blast and couldn't believe it. "Delta Point, it's gone," one whispered. But the data feed showed something else. The alien army was retreating, their systems failing. On the ground, smoke and dust covered everything. Amid the destruction, a figure crawled out from the rubble, armor scorched, helmet cracked. It was Cole. Barely alive, but still breathing. He looked up at the burning sky, voice barely a whisper. "That's for humanity." And as the flames reflected in his visor, one thing became clear. The battle was far from over. The aliens had lost their power grid, but they were still out there. Cole knew what would come next. Retaliation. He stood slowly, picked up his rifle, and began to walk toward the horizon. The legend of the ignored soldier had now become something far greater, the spark of humanity's first real victory. The stars above burned cold and distant, their light scattered across the shattered skies of Delta Point. Weeks had passed since the explosion that crippled the alien power grid. The human fleet had returned, cautious but hopeful, gathering the surviving soldiers and rebuilding their lines. Across the colonies, one name was whispered like a prayer: Sergeant Cole Varon. To most, he was a myth, a soldier who destroyed an army alone, who turned defeat into defiance. To the alien empire, however, he was something far more dangerous, an idea. An idea that humanity would never kneel again. The aliens called him the Ghost of Delta. And now, the Empire had put the highest bounty in its history on a single human head. Every mercenary, assassin, and bounty hunter across 5 star systems had the same target: find Cole Varyn, dead or alive. But Cole was no longer on Delta Point. He had been secretly extracted by a recon ship weeks after the explosion, his body broken, his armor fused to his skin in places. 4 days, he drifted in and out of consciousness aboard the medical frigate Aurora's Edge. When he finally woke, he found himself in a recovery bay surrounded by white lights and unfamiliar faces. "Easy, Sergeant," a medic said softly. "You've been out for 12 days. Cole tried to sit up, his body aching with every movement. "Where am I?" "You're safe," replied a voice, calm, firm. A man in command uniform stepped forward. His insignia bore the mark of the Human Fleet Command. "Admiral Harlow, we pulled you from the ruins. You did the impossible, soldier." Cole's voice was low, rough. "No, sir. I did what had to be done." The Admiral smiled faintly. "You gave humanity hope. But hope isn't enough anymore. The aliens are regrouping. They've declared full-scale war, and you're at the center of it." Cole stared at him. "You mean they're coming for me?" "They already are," Harlow said grimly. "We've intercepted transmissions. They've sent their best. Hunters, assassins, even warlords who lost their honor because of you. You've become their obsession." Cole stood up despite the pain. "Then let them come." But he didn't realize the scale of what was coming. Days later, as the Aurora's Edge traveled through the outskirts of the Vega sector, a fleet of alien mercenaries ambushed them. Ships emerged from hyperspace like ghosts, sleek, dark vessels built for silent killing. The alarms screamed through the corridors. "Multiple hostiles inbound. They've locked onto our signature." Cole grabbed his rifle and armor from the rack. "They found me," he muttered. "Sergeant," the Admiral shouted, "you're not cleared for combat." "Never stopped me before." He sprinted down the corridor as explosions rocked the ship. The lights flickered, and soldiers scrambled to defense posts. Through a viewport, Cole saw the alien ships firing their energy beams, slicing through human hulls like paper. Escape pods launched. Some made it out, some didn't. He made his way to the armory, loading fresh plasma cells. The first boarding party breached the ship with a blast of molten metal. Alien soldiers poured in, tall, armored, with glowing red visors. Cole took cover behind a steel crate and opened fire. His shots were precise, deadly, one after another. When his rifle overheated, he switched to close combat, grabbing an alien's own blade and driving it through its armor. The corridor became a storm of chaos and smoke. As he fought, the Admiral's voice echoed through the comms. "Cole, we can't hold them. We're going down. I'm ordering a full evacuation." Cole looked around. Half the crew was already dead. He could feel the ship breaking apart under his feet. "Not yet," he growled, moving toward the bridge. When he reached it, the windows showed a horrifying sight: a massive alien warship, black and gold, shaped like a claw, approaching fast. On its hull, the insignia of the Empire's elite unit, the Revenants. These were not ordinary soldiers. They were assassins trained to hunt species to extinction. Cole stared at the screen. "They sent the Revenants for me?" "Not just for you," the Admiral said. "For all of us." The Aurora's Edge was hit by a direct energy blast. The bridge exploded, throwing Cole across the floor. He saw the Admiral collapse, the lights flickering out. In those final moments, he dragged himself to the controls and slammed his fist on the emergency beacon. Then everything went white. Hours later, he awoke inside a wrecked escape pod. The hull was cracked, smoke hissing through vents. He was alive, barely. The planet outside was dark, unfamiliar, its surface glowing with strange violet storms. He stepped out into the ash, his armor damaged but his spirit unbroken. Above him, in the stormy sky, the black silhouette of the Revenant warship loomed like a predator. They were still searching. Cole clenched his jaw. "You wanted me," he whispered. "You found me." He raised his rifle, scanning the horizon. A new hunt had begun, not on Earth, not on Delta Point, but on a world unknown. And this time, Cole wasn't just fighting for survival. He was fighting to end the war once and for all. Because even the Empire's deadliest hunters didn't understand one thing about humans: when you make one of them a legend, you also make him unstoppable. The wind on this new world howled like a living thing, sharp, metallic, carrying the taste of ozone and ash. Sergeant Cole Varron moved through the storm, every step crunching against shards of blackened stone. His armor was scarred, his visor cracked, and his oxygen meter blinked dangerously low. But he didn't stop. He couldn't. Above him, in the swirling violet sky, the alien warship, the Revenant's Claw, hovered silently, sending down searchlights that swept across the dark terrain. Drones buzzed through the air, scanning for any trace of human life. Cole crouched behind a jagged ridge, watching them pass. His HUD flickered, showing weak readings of energy underground, faint, pulsing signals. He frowned. "That's not alien tech," he muttered. He looked down at the scanner again. The energy pattern was rhythmic, alive, almost like a heartbeat. Then, he remembered something Admiral Harlow had once said: "The Empire doesn't just conquer worlds, Varron, it feeds on them." Cole started moving toward the source. The landscape was eerie. Black crystal formations jutted out from the ground like frozen lightning bolts, and rivers of faint blue mist flowed between them. The closer he got, the stronger the pulsing grew. His scanner warned of unstable radiation, but curiosity, and instinct, drove him forward. After an hour, he reached the edge of a vast crater. In its center was a colossal structure, a tower half buried in the earth, glowing faintly from within. It didn't look alien. It looked ancient. Older than both species. Cole knelt at the ridge and whispered, "What the hell is this place?" Before he could move closer, a beam of light hit the ground near his feet. He dove for cover as plasma bolts scorched the rocks around him. The Revenants had found him. He rolled behind a crystal spire and peeked out. 3 Revenants, tall, cloaked figures with silver armor and glowing red eyes, were descending on anti-grav boosters. They moved with terrifying precision, their weapons silent, deadly. Cole's rifle was nearly empty, and his sidearm wasn't enough. He needed an advantage. He glanced toward the ancient tower and noticed energy surging from a broken conduit nearby. An idea formed. He waited until the nearest Revenant moved closer, then he sprinted toward the tower. Plasma bolts chased him, hitting the ground inches from his boots. He slid behind the conduit and yanked a power cable free. Sparks flew. The aliens advanced cautiously, their visors scanning. Cole grinned. "Come closer." When the first Revenant stepped on the metal plate in front of him, Cole jammed the cable into the ground. The surge was instant. A flash of blue lightning exploded outward, arcing across the rocks and into the alien armor. The Revenants screamed as their systems overloaded. 2 fell instantly. The third staggered, armor sparking, and raised his weapon, but Cole was faster. 1 clean shot. The alien collapsed. Cole exhaled, smoke rising around him. That's 3 less nightmares in the galaxy. Then the ground trembled. The ancient tower pulsed violently, its energy rising as if awakened by the surge. Cracks opened in the crater, releasing streams of blue light. Cole stumbled back, shielding his face. The energy rose higher and higher, then formed into a massive holographic shape. It was a figure, tall, humanoid, made of light. Its voice echoed across the crater, calm yet powerful. "Human, you have awakened the vault." Cole froze, staring up at it. "What are you?" "I am the echo of the architects," it said. "Creators of the First War. The ones your enemies call gods." The hologram turned its gaze to the sky, where the Revenant warship hovered. "The empire that hunts you once served us. Now, it consumes what remains of our legacy." Cole frowned. "Then help me stop them." The hologram's light flickered. "You are not ready to wield our power, human. Your species is reckless, emotional." Cole's jaw tightened. "Maybe. But we don't stop. That's why I'm still alive. For a moment, the hologram was silent. Then it extended a hand of light toward him. Then take what strength you can bear. A surge of energy shot into Cole's armor, flooding his systems. His HUD lit up with new data, weapon signatures, shield controls, alien encryption keys. His armor hummed with power. For the first time, he could feel the ancient technology merging with his own. But before he could ask another question, explosions rocked the crater. The Revenant's claw had opened fire. The tower shook violently as plasma beams tore through its structure. The hologram's voice boomed one last time. They will destroy this world to bury the vault. Run, human. And remember, the key is within you now. The light faded. Cole sprinted toward the ridge as fire rained from the sky. The ground split open behind him, swallowing the ancient tower in flames. He dove behind a rock as the entire crater erupted, sending shockwaves across the horizon. When the dust settled, he was alive. Barely. His armor was still glowing faintly from the energy he had absorbed. He looked at his gauntlet. Alien runes now etched themselves into the metal. His system displayed a new line of text, Architect Protocol, active. Cole stared at it, then up at the warship still hovering in the sky. You wanted me, he whispered. You've got me. He reloaded his rifle, the barrel now humming with the same blue energy as the tower. The storm above intensified, lightning striking the alien ship. For the first time, the hunters were about to become the hunted. The night sky burned. The Revenant's claw loomed above, its massive cannons turning toward the crater, preparing to obliterate everything below. The planet itself groaned under the strain, tectonic cracks spreading like veins of blue fire across the wasteland. Sergeant Cole Varron stood alone amid the chaos, armor glowing with the pulse of ancient energy. His visor flickered with data he didn't fully understand, architect code intertwining with human tech, rewriting his systems in real time. His body trembled, not from fear, but from power. Architect protocol, synchronization complete. A voice echoed inside his helmet, the same one from the vault. Cold, mechanical, yet strangely alive. Cole clenched his fists. Then let's finish this. He sprinted toward the cliffs, every step leaving a trail of blue sparks. The Revenant drones swooped down, unleashing volleys of plasma fire. Cole dove into a roll, extended his gauntlet, and the air itself bent. A sphere of energy expanded outward, disintegrating the drones in an instant. He looked at his hands, awestruck. Holy hell! Then the ship above began to open, massive bay doors revealing a glowing core cannon, the Starbreaker. One shot from it could vaporize the continent. Cole's calm crackled. Admiral Harlow's voice came through the static. Varron, we're picking up energy spikes the size of a fusion detonation. What the hell are you doing down there? Cole smirked. Evening the odds, sir. He activated his suit's propulsion boost and launched himself toward the nearest ridge. The new energy systems flared, pushing him faster than any human tech should allow. He reached the summit in seconds, and saw the ship's underside glowing brighter. The Revenant's claw was charging to fire. Cole extended both arms, focusing. The alien runes on his armor ignited. The world seemed to slow, particles froze, wind died, and the stormlight above warped around him. Then, with a roar, he unleashed everything. A blinding column of energy erupted from his gauntlet, striking the ship's hull. The beam tore through armor plating like paper, slicing the massive vessel in half. The explosion lit up the sky, debris falling like meteor showers. Cole collapsed to one knee, gasping for air. His armor flickered, overloaded, unstable. But he wasn't done yet. Through the smoke, escape pods and Revenant troopers rained down from the sky, their armor glinting red as they regrouped. Dozens of them. Maybe hundreds. Cole looked at the horizon, a sea of glowing eyes closing in. He reloaded his rifle, blue energy now humming through the weapon's core. He whispered to himself, "Let's see what the architects built me for." The first Revenant lunged. Cole met it head-on, his rifle discharging pure plasma, disintegrating the alien midair. Another swung from behind. Cole twisted, his armor forming an energy blade from his forearm. One clean arc. The creature fell. He moved like a storm given form, light and shadow fused. Every impact sent shockwaves. Every strike tore through armor. The revenants screamed, their coordination collapsing. Then, in the chaos, one massive figure landed before him, the revenant warlord. Standing 3 meters tall, obsidian armor, crimson energy veins pulsing through his chestplate. He spoke in a voice that shook the ground. "Human, you carry the power of our gods. That power belongs to us." Cole leveled his weapon. "Come take it." The warlord charged, their clash shaking the ground. Energy blasts and blades collided, each strike creating bursts of light that illuminated the battlefield. The warlord was strong, far stronger, but Cole's armor was adapting, learning every movement, predicting every strike. At the final moment, Cole allowed the warlord's blade to pierce his shoulder, just enough to get close. Then he grabbed the alien's chestplate with both hands and activated full energy discharge. The explosion was deafening. When the light cleared, Cole stood alone, smoke rising from his armor, the warlord reduced to molten fragments. He fell to one knee again, systems failing, vision dimming. Above, the remains of the revenant's claw crashed into the mountains, erupting into a chain of fire that split the night apart. Cole looked up at the burning sky, his armor slowly fading from blue to black. His HUD displayed a final message. Architect protocol. Transfer complete. Legacy secured. He managed a weak smile. Guess that's one way to end a war. Then the energy within him surged once more. Not to destroy, but to preserve. His body dissolved into light, merging with the storm that now spread across the planet's surface. From orbit, Admiral Harlow's fleet watched as the entire world ignited with blue veins of light, the dormant architect network awakening across continents. Cole Varron was gone, but his signal lived on inside every pulse of that new, reborn world. A legend. A weapon. A ghost of humanity's defiance. And somewhere in the stars, the architects watched and whispered, "The humans have learned. The cycle begins anew."